Welcome to the Dog Jug, Roger and Russ. How's it going tonight?
Better since you're here, that's for sure.
I have power again. It's awesome.
I missed the beginning. I was watching the ad. We got ads now.
Yeah.
And when the show starts, before the show starts, you get an ad, like on YouTube when you watch. And I watch them all the way through, all of them. So I was late at the beginning. So
nice.
Nick's pretty happy about it. 216. Now that we're big time now.
It's pretty exciting. And Roger, I'd much rather you watch ads during the show than sleep during the show. So I appreciate the effort, buddy.
There's enough of them.
If it was hard enough to watch our show, wait until we add ads.
Yeah. Add ads. You know what? Our fans love us. They'd watch 50 ads to watch this dumb show. So I'm not worried about it.
What are you going to do?
Well, I'm really sorry I had to miss last week.
Yeah.
I was so excited to be on with Mick on Saturday night, and then the power went out at about 1 o'clock or so and wasn't back on until 3 in the morning. And unfortunately, I don't have a cell phone signal without the power, so I was completely dead in the water. I don't know how people did it back in the day.
Man, I just think back to when we didn't have internet. I don't know how I did it. But, man, when you lose all your power and then you start worrying about the food in the refrigerator and the freezer, and, of course, you just went shopping,
Yeah,
that always happens.
Do you know how hard it is to, feed a baby when you can't be on your phone going through Twitter?
Yeah.
That's
wild. Well, my wife does. I'll ask her.
Sherry points out that I did a puzzle. That is true. I was working on a puzzle with candlelight. It's very romantic. I think someone called me minutes before the show started, and he said that I'm actually drunk tonight. Put me on. I'll give you guys one guess who that was.
MC Lawrence.
Welcome to the Dog Chug, Dan.
Oh, no
big
shit.
Surprise.
How's it going, Dan? You're back off the wagon?
No, I'm just taking the night off.
You're taking the night off from sobriety.
Just tonight? Only tonight?
What step is that, Dan?
It's a Wednesday.
So do you just put the phone on the floor and look down at it when you get on?
No, my dick's holding it up.
Well, what do you got for us tonight, Dan?
All right. Here's my rant. Take it or leave it. Tito's gonna shine in his last year of managing.
Ooh.
Um,
Hot take.
JB Bickerstaff is gonna fuck up in the finals.
The finals?
And
We're gonna make it to the finals?
hold on.
Oh.
They are gonna make it to the finals,
Mm.
Wow.
but he's just doing too much. Kevin Stefanski has two eyes, he has two eyes, but one eye is looking somewhere, the other eye is looking somewhere else. The Browns are still going to suck this year.
Wow.
God bless you.
All right.
Good night.
Good night.
Amazing. Well, I guess watch the Guardians this season. Watch the Cavs until the finals, which is pretty exciting. And then don't watch the Browns.
You know what I see is that on Boston and Pittsburgh podcasts. Look at this Cleveland Dog Chug podcast and their predictions.
Yeah, I'd like to
Dan,
apologize
just
to
that
all of
clip.
our new. I think we have to apologize to all of our new followers at Network 216.
You know what?
We always say here, you watch all the other shows on Network 216 to gain brain cells, and you lose them when you watch our show. So Dan's a prime example of that.
They may not know Dan.
I don't understand how he's saying Kevin Stefanski, one eye's going one way, and is he saying he's cross-eyed and that's why he's going to lose?
He lost me. He lost me at JB Bickerstaff, and
he's going to blow it in the finals.
Wow.
Do you think he meant to say he's going to blow it in the first round of the playoffs, but he said finals and they just went with it?
I don't know. I think he's pretty optimistic about the Cavs today.
He just hates Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse and the hockey rink.
Dan, I got to bring you back on. Did you mean to say he's going to blow it in the first round of the playoffs? Or do you legitimately think he's going to make it to the finals?
No, I think they'll make it to the finals. Like, they have a really good chance.
But if they make it to the finals, did our coach blow it, or did we just kind of get to almost the end and then came up a little short? I mean, it's a young team.
Well, it doesn't matter like how old the team is. Like, if they don't win the championships, they fucking blow it.
Okay. But it's going to be the coach that blows it, not the players.
Yeah, well, I mean, okay. So take away the coach and it's just the players.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we don't have time for that.
Wow. Well,
he nailed it.
All right. Well, guys, I'm so glad we're all back together. And one of the things I love to do is to inform our great audience of everything that's going on in football news. So I think it's time for the Dog Chug update.
All right. The Cleveland Guardians put up a fight last season, almost eliminating the New York Yankees in the American League Division Series. Tomorrow they return with their young team, a year more developed and additional depth, and fans in Cleveland haven't been this excited in years, legitimately believing we can win the whole damn thing. Unless, that is, they lose to Seattle tomorrow, and the majority of Twitter will declare the season is dead.
So
maybe
true.
Chuck too.
Chuck agrees with that one. All right, it was reported today that the Baltimore Ravens attempted to sign Baker Mayfield, and he declined. Now, I say this acknowledging that I hate Baker Bros as much as all of you do. But hell yeah, Baker. You were a fucking roller coaster that made being a Browns fan miserable, but you spurned the Baltimore Ravens, and I love you, dude.
All right, video has surfaced yesterday from the owners' meetings of Odell Beckham Jr. and Browns coach Kevin Stefanski hugging it out. And listen, the Dog Chug can confirm that the Browns were actually on the verge of signing the wide receiver back to Cleveland. Wow. That is until Kevin Stefanski's dad posted a video on social media full of my tweets since 2019 and video clips of this very show where I called OBJ overrated. And then I knew from the beginning he was going to be a bum. After watching, Kevin and Andrew decided that was a bad move and didn't return his calls. Bring on the Browns contrarian. Where's he at?
Let's see. Okay, let's go. Yes.
Oh, boy. Look at this.
All right.
The mean streets of North Olmsted.
All right, and now to discuss all the moves the Browns made in free agency, please welcome our guest, the Browns contrarian.
Pleasure's all yours.
Yeah. So I sent did you get what I sent?
Yeah, I got it. I wish I could say it's a pleasure to be here, but like I said, pleasure's all yours. I haven't seen something this offensive since my team rewarded a sexual predator with the largest contract in NFL history.
Oh my. You've been very vocal about your stance on Deshaun and what the Browns did last offseason, but we want to focus on what they did last week in free agency. So are you happy with what they accomplished?
Me? Happy? You're clearly not following me on Twitter. I've never had a happy day in my life. The last time I can remember sort of a decent day was when the Browns lost to the Steelers in Week 18 and officially finished last in the division for the second year in a row.
All right, well, let's dig into it. The Browns may have fixed their defensive tackle woes, signing Dalvin Tomlinson to a 4-year, $57 million deal. What are your thoughts?
Typical clowns. They could have had the kid from St. Ignatius that actually wanted to play here and who can actually get to the quarterback, but instead they settle for a guy that can stop the run, but they're pretending like the fact that the NFL, it's a passing league. Good luck stopping Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes, you assholes.
Well, Browns contrarian, don't forget they did address pass rush by signing up-and-comer Okoronkwo.
Please, that guy's own mother doesn't know how to pronounce his name. He's a jag. They should have concentrated on not treating Connie like a bitch, so we would not have wanted to escape like the rest of the people from Cleveland, because that's what everybody wants to do, get away from them potholes as well.
No.
What about replacing John Johnson III with Juan Thornhill, a Super Bowl winning safety?
You guys are probably convinced, too, that when you had Jamie Collins, he was going to turn things around defensively. This Thornhill, he's just another guy with a couple rings because he was on a quality team. He's cashing in and coasting on a bad team. Next!
All right, let's move to the offense. So they made a nice signing early, getting a productive backup tight end in Jordan Akins that proved more than capable catching passes from Deshaun Watson.
More like catching Deshaun's towels before he committed crimes against poor masseuses. This guy's an enabler.
Well, one of the biggest moves that excited Browns fans was trading for Elijah Moore with the Jets and finally getting a receiver on this offense with some speed. Now, surely this move gets you excited considering the minimal draft compensation.
Let me get this right. You're excited about adding a player that underproduced on the Jets, Jets, Jets? I can't explain how fun it is reading all you fools crying when Anthony Schwartz ends up becoming a Pro Bowl player with a quality team like the Baltimore Ravens.
You know, you say the Ravens are good, but don't they seem to be botching the Lamar Jackson situation?
Why? Because they overpay for a predator? Well, not like Cleveland does. Ravens will show how to handle quarterback negotiations because they're the best and we're the worst.
Yeah, you keep saying we as if you're a Browns fan, but I can't help notice you're wearing a Kansas City Chiefs shirt.
Kansas City, Travis Kelce, I love Cleveland, he's a winner. Beach Boys, Mike Love, Kevin Love's uncle. Wish we all could be something else but Cleveland Browns fans on Sundays. But if you're convinced, I'm convinced that the Browns someday will win. I don't root for them on Sundays because guess what? They don't win. I'm a winner.
Well, wait a minute. If you're convinced the Browns are never going to actually win, why do you bother calling yourself a Browns fan?
How dare you? I've been a fan of this team for 43 years and continue to root against them on Sunday. Where do you come off questioning my fandom?
I'm just saying,
My job.
isn't a fan supposed to hold out faith that eventually we're going to get it together and get to the promised land? That we're going to finally break through? And if that ever happens, it'll be the greatest period this city and fan base experiences probably in our lifetime.
I used to believe that. I used to be just like you. But then, somewhere along the way, I whined about the Browns being shitty and got all kinds of engagements and likes. Suddenly, I didn't feel so invisible and worthless. The more bitchy and whiny my tweets got, the more people would pay attention to me. I upped my game significantly by listening to Ryder and Grossi every day on the radio and parroting all their nonsensical takes. And within months, I became as infamous on Twitter as that Carnes fuck.
The Browns contrarian, everyone. Oh, my God.
That's not a happy fan.
That guy, his takes, he's just full of shenanigans.
He reminded me a lot of the Browns GM.
The Browns, yeah.
Hey, at least he's still a fan after 40 years.
Just as angry, just as miserable.
Well, back to Dog Chug update. Andrew Berry admitted the Browns tried to trade for Elijah Moore last season, but were unable to pry him away. So let me get this straight. His price was too high, and then he had a shitty year, and the Jets gave him up for considerably less? Hey, Jimmy, maybe you should pay attention and stop raising effing season ticket prices every year your team plays like Elijah Moore. Andy and I know how that feels.
For the second year in a row, the Browns are poised to enter the draft without making a pick until almost the third round. Dog Show can't confirm this is a legitimate strategy to stop the draft from being this fan base Super Bowl. But perhaps there's a better way. Instead of trading away all our picks so the draft is super boring, maybe you should devote your energy to, I don't know, winning a fucking Super Bowl.
That would be nice. Jimmy Haslam was asked if Kevin Stefanski would be fired if the 2023 Cleveland Browns fail to make the playoffs. And he said he doesn't want to say if we don't make the playoffs, XYZ happens because that would become the headline. D. Haslam immediately grabbed the mic and said, "Don't listen to that candy ass. This fucking team comes up short for a third time in a row. I can promise every soul in the coaching staff and front office will be kicked out of Berea faster than Elijah Moore's 40 time. And little Jimmy will go right back into that gimp outfit while we play Make the Football Disappear, where he sits on a chair with a football on it immediately after I peg him for 3 hours straight." Jesus.
She don't mess around.
She's feisty.
Wow.
And that is the Dog Jug update.
Nice. Woo. Some good news in there. A lot going on.
There is a lot going on. It's way more fun to write the Dog Jug update when there's actually stuff happening in the NFL. Yeah. So thank you, NFL.
Hey, Andy, is that a new hoodie you got?
No, I've actually had it for quite a while, but thanks for noticing. It's
a nice hoodie. It looks pretty comfortable. I wish I had that right now. It's pretty cold in my basement.
Super comfortable, and I get stopped all the time. People say, "Where'd you get that?" It's homage. You should really buy all your gear from there. It's the way to do it. My sister-in-law actually commented that every time she watches this podcast, I'm never wearing the Cleveland gear that she gets me, but she doesn't get me homage. So
guess not only crap at Target probably.
Yeah, exactly. So not only should you buy homage for yourself, if you're getting gift apparel for your friends or family, definitely go the homage route. It'll make them happy. And that was another ad.
Knocked that one out, didn't you?
Where's Sherry to come on and rate us? Hey, Sherry, if you're listening, go ahead and rate that ad.
In the comments.
All right. Well, Roger, why don't you promo our guest name? We're doing it a little bit different tonight, so why don't you go ahead and introduce?
Well, we got Chuck coming in, who does our At the Corner of Chuck and Dog Jug, Chuck's Corner, and he's a co-host of At the Corner podcast. But we also have 216's very own co-host of Rockin' at the Jake podcast here on Network 216, Imari. Man, I watched Chuck was on their show. Imari and his co-host, and man, it was a great show. And I was like, you know what? I want to get these two on Dog Jug for opening day eve. And we put it together. They agreed, and I hope they're in the green room.
Got Imari here.
There he is.
I'm here.
All right, Imari.
Oh, and
I'll bring Chuck in.
Welcome to the Dog Jug, Imari and Chuck.
How we doing, guys?
We are doing great, but the more important question is, how are you? What is your anxiety feeling like the day before?
I can't wait. Man, you know what? I got my Guardians hat here. I'm so excited. I was like thinking about it at work. I'm just like sitting there, and I'm just like having daydreams about the Guardians playing. I'm so excited. I can't wait.
All right, Mark.
Yeah, too bad we have to wait all day until 10 o'clock. People got to work the next day. You know what I mean? We got to wait till midnight just to watch the game. So I mean, it's exciting, but having to wait all day just to watch a game, that kind of sucks. But other than that,
what time is the game? The game tomorrow, is it 10? Or I thought that was 7 o'clock or something.
Yeah. I'm indifferent,
Games. It's like it changes the vibe. My wife is going to be sleeping. I'm going to be laying down watching the game.
It'll be quiet. That's why.
Do you make loud noises when you watch the game? Can you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Your poor wife. His poor wife.
Can you, Chuck, confirm the rumor? I heard that you were driving your car on the freeway. You had the window down. It was a nice day. Everything was going good. And then you heard the news that Tristan McKenzie is going to be out for 2 weeks, and you fell out of your car.
That was the Sean Murphy. When Sean Murphy got traded to the Braves, I almost got killed when I was driving.
I never get tired of that story.
When McKenzie got hurt, I was in a grocery store. Well, no. I was at my in-laws' house when he got hurt, when I got the tweet that he was walking off the field, and then I had to sit on the couch to gather myself. I was having chest discomfort. I couldn't catch my breath. And my wife asked me, "Charlie, do you want me to call 911? Are you okay?" And I couldn't. I was trying to catch my breath, and I said, Tristan left the game. And then we didn't find out till last night when I was in a grocery store. And when I got the tweet that he was out for 2 months, it broke my heart. It broke my heart. I sat down at the pharmacy there for literally like an hour just trying to collect my thoughts about how angry I am about it.
Wow.
Oh man.
Imari,
you know what? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Andy.
I'm just you have a Guardians podcast. You obviously love the team, but what was your reaction to the news? Did you have did your wife have to call 911?
It got serious for it was serious for a good 2 minutes there. I had a legitimate panic attack because nobody was reporting what was the problem with Tristan, and I get very anxious. I get very, very anxious because he's out 2 months. It's very upsetting. Yeah, my wife was losing her shit though because I scared the shit out of her. That's for sure.
All right, we got to make sure we're taking turns and we're giving everyone a chance to talk here, Chuck.
Oh shit! I'm sorry.
Imari, you didn't were you in did you pull over to the side of the road? Did you have to have some quiet time? What's going on? How did you react?
Well, I'll tell you what, when I got the news, I almost launched myself off the 480 bridge pretty much. I mean, 2 months, that's a long time. Talking about a third of the season, that's too long for me, if you ask me. So yeah, I'm definitely heartbroken about it. Was excited for him to start the season off on a good note. Gonna have to wait a little bit just to see him on the mound again, and who knows what he's gonna look like at that point, coming with his injury. So
I was just laughing at your reactions and Chuck's, and I saw the news. He's my favorite. Him and Jose, probably my 2 favorite Guardians. I love Tristan. Man, I love that kid, man. He's a bulldog out there, man. And I wasn't laughing at the kid's gonna be down, man, and it's heartbreaking for him, I'm sure. But man, I look at it at it's like at the All-Star break, you got the trade. It's almost like getting a big trade. If he comes back, he's healthy, and you're into June. It's like getting an ace, free agent that you add to your staff. I try to look at the positive when things like that. It's going to hurt the team, but in the long run, it's a long season, man. And he'll be back, and he'll be out there, pitching for us in no time.
I still haven't recovered.
I'm trying to pick you guys up. I'm trying to lift up your spirits, man.
I still haven't recovered.
I don't know.
I'm so upset about it.
Listen, that drop off the 480 bridge is really far. I don't know if you could pick me up off of that.
This team always seems to underperform, though, in the months of April and May. So, I mean, it probably wasn't going to be a good 2 months anyway. And I'm pretty.
2 months is a long time.
2 months is a long time. Not like I said, that's a third of the season. But I do like Roger's point where it is almost like a trade acquisition where if he comes back healthy and you're in the middle of the summer and he performs well, that's almost like getting a boost right there because you're talking about your second best pitcher who is developing into an ace of his own as well. So if he could come back, especially if they're floundering like you're talking about after not getting off to a good start, then that'll be the boost that they need going into the summer and into the trade deadline. So,
and Tito's teams, any team Tito's ever managed, it's always a second half team. After the All-Star break, Tito's teams take off, man. They play around 500 ball leading up to that, and that's when Tito's teams get going. So yeah, man, it's a bummer. It's a drag. And you know what, Amari? I want to hear about Rocking It to Jake, man. I started watching when you joined 216. Tell us a little about that before we really get into baseball, man. Before we,
Yeah. So it's me and my co-host Tom. We started it a couple years ago. We didn't do anything last year just because life gets in the way. But joined Network 216 over the off season, so we're excited to kind of get things going and get back into the thick of it with baseball season started up. Trying to break away from all the Browns talk. You know what I mean? It's the off season. Get some baseball in here. So we're excited. Like I said, I'm excited to be on here right now. So look for episodes hopefully every week with me and Tom talking about everything under the sun. So
man.
You guys go weekly. Is it hard coming up with enough content to talk about?
It can be. Sometimes, I mean, just you never know. With baseball, you play every day. So if you're going from an episode every week, you're talking at least 5 games of content that you could talk about, and you just never know what's going to happen. So it's not terribly hard. Sometimes it can be just because baseball is such a long season. You just never know what's going to happen. But it's been okay.
My thing with the baseball podcast, and I'd love to do it, but then I'm like, man, if I write something or prepare something, that could change like that in baseball because they play 5 nights a week. And you're planning a show for Wednesday and you got an idea and you come up and Tuesday blows that right out of the water and you're starting from scratch. You know what I mean? It's just to turn over the news sometimes can be so quick in baseball,
Right. Yeah. We just recorded an episode for the network that just premiered this week. And literally an hour after we uploaded it or recorded it, some breaking news came out. So, yeah, you're right. It can change very quickly. And
sometimes you're right in front of it. That's great,
Exactly. And, my good buddy Chuck over here, we were just on another podcast and had breaking news during the podcast. So that was pretty exciting.
You guys were marathon. You recorded a show before this, right?
Yeah.
Listen, baseball is a busy season, man. It never stops.
Yeah. Well, we would like to have you back in here too, throughout the season. Chuck comes in, so talk some baseball. So glad you joined us tonight. Sorry.
What are both of your thoughts of the big Andres Gimenez extension? Is it official yet? I think they haven't announced anything, right?
I believe it's official. I'm not sure. I mean, we do have the terms of the contract come out, but I think by all means it's official. He just hasn't physically signed the contract yet, but I mean, it'll be done for sure.
Oh yeah.
So were you surprised? This is obviously a great move. What were your thoughts?
I mean, for me, I thought it was a good move. Maybe a tiny bit premature just because he has the one good year under his belt so far. But if he's going to continue to perform like an all-star and win a Gold Glove and potentially win a Silver Slugger, then what you're getting him now for $15 million per season in a couple of years will look like a steal, especially if Amed Rosario leaves and you slide him over to shortstop. It's just even more of a bargain that you're going to get because these contracts for shortstops are exploding. So to get him at the number that he's at right now, which can go up to, I believe, over 130 million with incentives, I believe, it's going to look like a steal in a couple years if he continues to perform well.
When they signed Jose Ramirez to that first extension, before he kind of blew up, it was such a cheap contract.
Yeah.
And I know they tried to do the same with Lindor, and I think they said they got close, but he didn't sign. It would have been amazing had we locked Lindor up for 7 to 8 years, because it just seemed like all we talked about was Lindor's going to leave in 3 years. It's like, why are we worrying about 3 years from now? But anyway, Chuck, what are your thoughts?
I was so excited. I think you DM'd me, Andy. I was so happy. I was having a shitty day. But when I got that news, I was so happy. I was a little stunned at the number because that's like the second biggest contract after Jose in Guardians franchise history. So I was a little surprised at how much years of free agency Jimenez gave them. If the contract maxes out, it's up to 5 years of free agency. That's like crazy. But it is a little premature because he's only really had 1 year, as Imari said, but I if he plays shortstop for this team, if Amed Rosario walks next year, it's going to be an incredible contract, like incredible below market value, like it will be incredible, like for everybody, for the Guardians' sake.
And everything he does seems to project that it's going to sustain. Like, it doesn't seem like he's the type of player that would fall off a cliff. So I'm excited about the move.
Yeah.
That trade worked out, huh?
It did. Mm-hmm. It seemed to work out.
Yeah, who knew? Who knew, right?
I know there are a lot of people whining on Twitter when the trade happened that it was horrible. It's starting to look pretty good, though. MC Lawrence wants to get your season predictions. How many wins will this team make, in your opinion? Chuck, we'll start with you.
What did they get last year? 94?
The fact that
92 last year.
92.
I'm very
92. I'm going 91.
Okay.
And they still win the division.
Nice.
All right. Nice.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go anywhere between. I don't want to hedge my bets, but I'm going anywhere between 90 and 93 wins, and I think they could get as far as the championship series.
Nice. Well, Dan did say that they're going to Tito's going to do amazing. If you caught the beginning of the show,
Right. So
who will be our biggest competitor in the division?
I'm going Imari. I'm going Chicago. They need to stay healthy. They have like a thing where they just get hurt all the time. I think if they stay healthy and they have like an addition by subtraction by La Russa not being there anymore, I think they can play. They can play very well.
wow.
Yeah, I'm actually going to agree with Chuck. I'm going to say Chicago. I don't see much from Minnesota other than Correa signing. Their pitching has fallen off. They don't really have the hitters. They traded away some good hitters this year. I don't think Pablo Lopez, who they got from Miami, will do that much for them this year. He'll be okay. But Chicago, they finished with 81 wins last year. They have the talent, minus losing Jose Abreu in the offseason. He went to Houston. They have the talent, but it just depends on how healthy they are. If they can stay healthy, they're going to win 85 easily, 85 to 88 games. And if the Guardians do end up winning the division, it won't be locked up until the final 2 weeks, in my opinion.
Right.
I agree with that.
I think what really helps them too is they got rid of La Russa. They hated him. The clubhouse hated him. I think bringing Pedro in is I'm worried about the White Sox. They got a really good team, and I agree with both you guys. A lot of people are saying the Twins, and I don't see it. I see the White Sox.
Are you staying up tomorrow night?
Pardon?
Are you staying up tomorrow night?
To watch the game, he's asking. Are you going to be watching the game? And I can answer that. He's always watches the Guardians.
Yeah, I'll be up.
You gave me. I don't know. I'm nervous you're going to fall asleep, Roger.
Well, not tomorrow. I won't. But as a season, I get up at 4:30. Chuck, I don't last. I tried, but I make 2-3 innings and I'm gone. And then the first thing I do is I look at you on Twitter to see what happened. I just go to your page and I know what happened. See Chuck's pulled over the side of the road in despair.
All right,
and I know we lost.
The game starts at 10. It'll probably end with the new rules. I don't know, like 110, 120. Assuming we win the game, Chuck, what will happen? What will you do over the next? Will you immediately go to sleep? Will you celebrate? Like what? Help us get in the mind of Chuck after a big win.
After a big win, I usually celebrate with my wife.
Will you wake her up?
If I usually wake her up if it's like getting heavy, if it's like an intense inning or two, she always wakes up. And then because I get anxious, I hate watching it alone. There's not a worse feeling when your team blows it and you're alone. I got kicked out of my apartment game 2 of the wild card series when Brad Hand versus the Yankees. Brad Hand game 2 versus the Yankees. I got kicked out. She kicked me out of the apartment. I was so bad. But no, I'm gonna celebrate. If we win tomorrow night, of course I'm gonna celebrate. I'm just gonna enjoy the game. I feel my soul returning to me. I really do. Like I felt like the last 4 months I've been on autopilot, just walking around.
Oh, you definitely talked. I was worried. I was going to call for help at one point, reading your tweets.
Oh, thank you.
You get very depressed when they're not playing.
They're a big part of my life. It's just the truth. I'm very. You know this, Andy. I have like OCD, so I need to watch every pitch of every inning.
You do?
Yeah. So I'm nuts. I'm a nut.
So will you make a cocktail? Will you pour one of your?
Yeah, I'm gonna have some whiskey tomorrow night. Yeah.
No, after they win, will you have a celebratory beverage?
Depends how late it is, but and then I'll be drinking during the game for sure.
All right. If we win, I'm gonna send you a chug. How about that?
Thank you.
But we won't win because we always lose the opener.
Yeah, they always do.
Everyone freaks out and whines and complains, and
they always lose the opener. That's true. But I do love West Coast vibes, like the late games and just chilling. like the Oakland games, 10 o'clock start. You're laying in bed, the wife is sleeping, just chilling, watching the game. I love that.
Man, Cheetos all over the bed, crumbs everywhere.
You know
Wife
that, Rob.
trying to sleep.
Imari, who is your favorite player on the team right now? I mean, and you can't say Jose Ramirez.
No, it's Tristan McKenzie. I've been on the Tristan McKenzie train since he was in the minors. Before anybody that I follow was talking about him, before he got up while he was still injured. I always like to say humble brag. He follows me on Twitter and he will respond sometimes, so that's always nice.
Really?
Yeah, it's
That's awesome.
yeah. Yeah, he's my latest jersey purchase. Other than I don't even know who my last one was. Actually, he's the only one, an actual player. Every other one is blank. So I'm a very big Tristan McKenzie fan. So shout out to him, which is why I hate the injury as much as I do. But favorite player is Tristan McKenzie.
And hopefully it'll be less than the 8 weeks. Maybe it'll be like 6 weeks.
Hoping, right?
I seen a pitch in Akron, and we got the kids. It's a Sunday game, and they run all over. They got the slide, and it's and he weighed about $105 at the time, and he's 6 foot. I mean, he was just when he stood sideways, you didn't see him anymore. You know what I mean? And
like Spider-Man.
But I don't think they got a hit, man. I don't even know who they played. I'm trying to watch a game with the kids. You only see about half of it, but I don't even know if they got a hit. Maybe he was just dominant, and you just heard the glove snapping, And I'm out in right field in the kids zone. It's a Sunday. You can hear the glove pop. Like, wow, wow, this kid's something. And I've been a huge fan ever since.
It really seems like a lot of the players in this team are just good dudes. Like, they're so likable. They're so fun. They have energy.
Yeah.
It's such a fun team to root for. Like, we've kind of been blessed to have a lot of good Indians and now Guardians teams, but I really identify with this team so much. It's great. So excited for tomorrow. I wanted to ask one more question, but I think I lost it. Roger, what do you got?
I don't know, man. I'm good. We found everything out. Why don't we do sip, spit, chug, man? You want to go to that or?
Yeah, let's go to that. Ross.
Wait a minute, where's Ross?
No, you know what? We haven't heard from Ross. Why don't we bring Ross?
I'm here, baby. I was letting you guys talk about baseball. I don't have too much to add. These guys are the experts plus Roger. So
I'm just a casual. What do you want to cover? Some Cavs? Give us some Cavs news. You got the Cavs shirt
Cavs
on.
news. Well, we're still the projected 4th seed. That's big. So
if they had won yesterday against Atlanta, we would only been a game out.
Right.
I know. So that's big. We got a shot. We just got to make it in the playoffs. Don't have to worry about the play-in, which is great. That's a step in the right direction. Mobley's playing awesome. They're giving him more and more minutes, having him hold the ball more. I have some concerns about how it seems like we're experimenting with the lineup a little bit still, but we're going to see a completely different team when it comes to the playoffs. You're going to see Donovan Mitchell flex his veteran presence a little bit and take over kind of like he has been, but we'll see. You never know. Darius Garland always seems pretty cool, calm, and collective, so I don't think he's going to cave in the playoffs. I'm just excited for them to make it, and I think everyone else should. So I guess low expectations, but this team is actually able to beat anyone really. It's just that we're stuck in the East. If we were in the West, we probably would be close to favorites.
I agree with that.
Weird how that completely flipped.
Yeah,
that was a great analysis by Ross there. That was impressive.
I've been watching way too much Cavs, but they're super fun to watch.
Yeah.
I just wish there was a little more consistency with how their lineup plays.
Chuck, because you're such a Guardians fan, if the Cavs do well in the playoffs, will you root for them, or are you you hate them?
So people don't know this about me because I don't talk about it on Twitter. I'm actually a huge Knicks fan, New York Knicks fan.
Right. I know that.
So no, I won't. My dad is a diehard Cavaliers fan. I'm gonna be so locked up in the Guardians. I'm not gonna be thinking about it much.
Okay, let's say we destroy the Knicks. We win in 4 games.
I'll be upset, of course.
You'll be upset. But then the Cavs continue playing in the playoffs. Will you continue? Will you at some point you'd be like, okay, I'm going to root for them a little bit harder than the other?
No.
Okay. You son of a bitch. You know what, Roger? Don't have Chuck back on. Fuck him.
Chuck, I'm sorry, but I got two things. Number one, this one's for Ross. Ross, I know you're the sock boss. I got to ask you before I forget. The Guardians wear socks. They're blue with the 3 red stripes, and they got the C on them.
Yeah.
You're the sock boss. I need some of those socks. We need to get those online and sell those. You got to find those socks.
I can make it happen, but if I put that C on there, I will be in big trouble.
Oh, put like under lowercase c. But those socks, I love them. But I got a baseball thing. This is what I know what Chuck stands on this, so I want to go to Imari. I know Chuck's going to jump all over it anyway. Miles Straw, Amid Rosario. I believe, after hearing what Tito Francona says about those two baseball players, they're his new Kipnis and Chisenhall. Those two guys, he's going to run out there every night. He loves them. He loves the way they play the game. He talked about the amount of ground that Straw covers out there, making his left and right fielders better. He talked about how Amid he thinks third base out of the box and how he plays the game, and these young kids emulate, follow him and Jose. Imari, where you at on Straw and Amid Rosario?
I'm actually okay with him. I'm actually very pro Amid Rosario. I know a lot of fans, at least people that I come into contact with, haven't been since he's gotten here. He had 11 home runs last year, 71 RBI. He led the league in singles. He led the league in triples. His 71 RBI was 4th most in the American League by a shortstop. He's actually pretty good. I think he led the league in defensive WAR, I believe. That could be wrong last year. So he's actually very underrated, in my opinion, when you look at the advanced stats. If he's going to give you that kind of consistency every year, then I'm fine with leaving him out there. As far as Miles Straw, obviously the defense is there. He had a terrible season last year. It started out well. It ended well. He had a bad 4 months in between. He's hitting 364 in spring training right now. That may not mean much to you if you don't put a lot of weight on spring training. I think it's a decent indication on where a player's mind is going into the regular season. So if he can carry that on to what he's going to do in the regular season, then I think he's going to be fine. With these larger bases, we're talking about somebody that can steal 30 bases, hopefully 20 doubles or so, maybe not, but we'll see. If he can hit about 240 and have an on-base percentage over 350, then I'm going to take that every time with the defense that he gives us. So I have a positive outlook on Miles Straw and Amid Rosario. It's just up to them to prove us right.
I love it. One thing about with Straw, you ever get dropped from leadoff to 9th hole? You know what I mean? And what that does? You ever get dropped in a batting order? Just 2 spots? You know what I mean? I think it's a total different mindset, and he started to come out of it. But that'll get you. They did the same thing to Mercado where he was on fire hitting in the 2-hole. He dropped down to 9. I don't think he ever hit again. I think mentals are a big part of baseball, and I think that if he accepts the role of hitting 9 and he's hitting more aggressively in the spring, I think he can be okay.
Yeah, you're right. I agree because
that was interesting.
Yeah, because mental is a big part of baseball. Last year when Amid Rosario was in left field, that whole bouncing back and forth, not really knowing where he's going to play, and the numbers reflected his offense wasn't very good. He wasn't good defensively. He hadn't played the outfield at any level of professional baseball in his career until last year. Once he moved back to shortstop and was there every day, his numbers took off. And obviously he had the numbers that I just rattled off a second ago. So mental is a big part of baseball, and you just have to know, be comfortable at where you're at and know that you're going to play every day. And once you have that, then you just go out there and do what you do.
Right. All right, go ahead. I know Chuck's view. Go ahead, Chuck.
So I don't dislike Amid Rosario. I love what he brings to the team. I love what he brings to the clubhouse, and that's very valuable. He did block me on Twitter. I don't think it was necessary.
How the hell do you get blocked by Amid Rosario?
I don't know.
The guy's a sweetheart.
I don't know. It wasn't that bad. I think I said, Amid Rosario, you are dead to me. I think that's what I said, and you blocked me. After a bad game in May. Twitter gets that was a poor showing on me. I don't even think that was it. He just randomly blocked me one day. He blocked a bunch of people that day. But I'm a big fan of Gabriel Arias. and I always gonna wonder what he will look like with like 500 at bats. But Straw was really bad last year in certain areas, but maybe this will be big, you know. But Roger, you open my eyes a little bit with that 9-hole situation. People, but my God, Imari, remember how bad he was in the summer last year? There was like a month of July. Holy shit, he was like really bad. But then he kind of got it back a little bit towards the end of the season. But I do think Amed Rosario is very valuable to the team and what he brings. I've never seen a player so fast out of the box that hustles right out of the gate like that. It's a lot of fun to watch. He's definitely grown on me. I'm a huge Gabriel Arias supporter, and some of our guys like Angel Martinez. I'm a big fan of in our AA system. So I just don't know if he's a long-term answer at shortstop, but again, I love what he brings to the clubhouse.
All right.
One more question for me. Will Stephen Kwan have as good of a season this year that he did last year, or will he have a sophomore slump?
I'm going yes, Imari. I think people think he may regress. I don't see it. I think this is. He always had an incredible discipline in the strike zone in his career, especially in the minors. The pop. I don't know if the pop will get there. He'll probably end up with 5 to 10 homers. But the ball's in play and the ability that he commands the strike zone like that. I think this is who he is. I really do.
All right.
Yeah, I think he struggles a little bit to start the season, and by struggle I mean like hit 260. I mean, we know his contact, his ability to put bat to ball is incredible. His spring training stats, he had 314 in spring training. So I think even if he is in the slump, he's going to use his batter's eye and his ability to put bat to ball to get him out of that slump, because he's going to have a high on base percentage. And once he has a high on base percentage, that's going to translate to everything else. I liken it to a basketball player who's struggling from the field. All they need to do is get to the free throw line and see the ball go in. So once they have that, that's just going to get the ball rolling. And by June, he'll be back to his normal self, hitting 280, 290, taking walks, hitting line drives everywhere, and he'll be fine.
All right. Love it. Okay. Well, we're going to move on to Spit, Sip, Chug, which is a little game we play every week on this dumb podcast, where I'm going to make a statement. And when it's your turn, if you strongly agree with it, you're going to chug and explain why. If you disagree, you're going to spit. And if you're somewhere in the middle, you're just going to say, I sip. Roger, I'm looking at you. So we're going to start with the first statement. Losing Tristan McKenzie for as many as 2 months is a blow that this pitching staff is not equipped to handle. Roger, we'll start with you.
I'm going to sip.
He does that a lot, Imari.
It doesn't help. I think that, I mean, he's 1B when it comes to ace of the staff with Bieber. But I think we have enough depth. I don't think it kills them, but I think they're equipped to handle it. That was the statement. I'm sipping. I think they're equipped to handle it. I don't think it's going to be great and fun all the time, but I think they're equipped to handle it.
All right. Imari.
Yeah, I forgot to grab some beer for the show, so I just have water. But I'm gonna sip because I agree with Roger.
Yeah,
there you go.
I think it's somewhere in the middle where it really depends on who's gonna replace him. I think it really puts more weight on the back end of the rotation and Plesac and Savali. If they can at least hold water a little bit until he gets back, then it won't seem like as much as a blow. And then, like Roger was saying earlier, once Tristan comes back, it'll be almost like an acquisition in the middle of the season, as long as he's healthy and produces. But if McKenzie's replacements don't do well, then it's just going to put more weight on that rotation that is already pretty top heavy as it is. So just kind of have to wait and see pretty much. It could really go either way, but they're not equipped in terms of the names that they have, but they are equipped in terms of the talent and the ceiling of the pitchers that they do have. So it really could go either way.
All right. Chuck.
I'm going to sip but it's going to be a cautious sip.
Pull over to the side of the road, sip.
Oh man, people forget how good Tristan McKenzie was last year.
No.
He was really good, especially in the second half of the year. Imari, I feel like the high end prospects like Tanner Bybee and Gavin Williams, they're not going to be up until like the second half of the season. I feel like. So we're looking at Hunter Gaddis, Xavier Curry, and Connor Pilkington to really fill the void. I think we'll be okay, but my God, if Savali and Plesac don't perform, like Savali, I like Savali. I'm a pro Savali guy. I always have been. He hit the first half of last year was a disaster, but he pitched well and then he got hurt again, and then he had that bad start versus the Yankees, which in the playoffs, which just ripped my guts out. But if Savali and Plesac don't step up, we're in big trouble. I love what Quantrill brings to the team. I just worry about the back end of the rotation. If they don't perform well, we could be in trouble in the first half.
All right.
All right.
You know what? I'm not really going to answer this question very well, but I'm just going to go ahead and spit. Probably the homer in me, in the fact that I like spitting, obviously. But the point is, the Guardians did not play very well in the first 2 months of last season, and we ended up doing just fine. Everything heated up. They played amazing. We're not in a very difficult division. So, yes, the pitching staff might struggle, but last year our hitting was so bad the first 2 months of the year. I think they're going to be substantially better. So I'm kind of looking at this as an opportunity to kind of see a couple different guys play in that 5 role, which is really going to be beneficial to know what we have potentially when we need to rely on that starting pitching depth. So I'm not too worried about Tristan being out 2 months. I hate that he's not going to be here. I want him to be here, but I think we're going to be just fine. So that's why I'm spitting.
Beautiful.
All right, I'm joining Andy in this one. I'm just going to be the optimistic fan. We're undefeated right now. I don't need any of this negative energy right now.
There you go.
The offense can only go up. It's not going to go down. And I think that's going to get us, those. Let's just say we get 3 less wins in the stretch that if we would have had Tristan McKenzie out there. But I think our offense is going to make up that gap if we're comparing the team from last year to this year. So, no, they're not going to regress too much. They might lose a couple games because he's not there, but not a ton. Not like every start he would have had.
All right.
Yeah,
Very good.
Nice.
Let's move on to statement number 2. Unfortunately, this is a Cavs question.
Oh,
Sorry, Chuck, but losing a first-round playoff series, it looks like it's going to be against the Knicks, would be a major impediment to the future development of this team. Mari, we're going to start with you.
What do you do if you agree?
You chug.
Oh, all right. I'm going to chug really quickly because I do agree. I think that with the ceiling that we have for this team, I mean, they better make it out of the first round. I mean, especially if you're going to face somebody like the Knicks. I mean, just imagine the news that's going to come out after that. But to get a trade, for like Donovan Mitchell, like I was saying, I think the ceiling for them is really kind of like the third round, if you ask me. So the progress that they've made, they've been very consistent. They kind of fell a little bit because they were as high as the 3 seed. They've been the 4 seed for the past couple of months, and that's fine. But to be entrenched in the 4th seed and to see how well they can play against higher teams, they won't have to worry about that in the early rounds of the playoffs. So I think it'll be very important not only to have that morale, but also that good standing with the fans in the front office for somebody like JB Bickerstaff, who I'm actually a fan of. But to build that rapport with your teammates and to get more playoff experience, I think a first-round victory is very important.
Okay. Love it. Chuck.
I don't answer Cav questions, so
The Knicks are in this one.
I'm going to give my time to Ross because I was very impressed by Ross's analysis.
I'll be giving you some Guardians time, so it's fair.
I just
All right.
can't wait for tomorrow's Guardians game. I can't wait until whatever the hell the network's going to be called that's calling the game, to just see the Cleveland Guardians on there and see my lineup, see Terry Francona spitting out some seeds. I just can't wait. I can't wait. I'm going to be thinking about it all day tomorrow, the entire day, literally.
Well, let me ask you this then. In a 7-game series, Cavs versus the Knicks, where the Cavs are have the home court advantage, what will the result be?
Knicks in 6.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
I just broke my own rule. I answered a Cavs question.
No, you were answering a Knicks question.
Oh,
We'll have you on
okay.
Cavs, Chuck. Don't worry.
All right. I am going to do exactly what Imari did, and I'm going to chug on this one. I love the way the Cavs are, positioned. I think they have such a great young core. They'll see so much upside, but they have to. I don't want to be dramatic, but they have to win the first round, or it's going to be a lot of people saying they just don't have enough, and that's going to get in people's heads, and people are going to be talking about firing Bickerstaff. It's not a good situation. I do not want to go into the offseason like that. I think if we win one round of the playoffs, the fans will believe we're at the trajectory we should be at this point, and will continue all supporting and loving this team. I do not want to go the other way, so they better win the first round and defeat Chuck's Knicks. Ross.
All right. Well, I'm going to have to sip on this, but I can at least make my explanation not as boring as the sip. Well, because I'm sipping because it really depends. Like if it goes to like a 7-game series and we lose, and there's like different scenarios, there's different things to look at. So then you have one thing where, hey, we have a bunch of young players. Did 2 of those young players play like shit all 7 games? Then you're not really pointing the finger at JB Bickerstaff, and everyone's not going to flip out as much. You just know it's more about development and getting these players reps. But on the flip side, let's say you lose in 6 or 7, and it's because we blew games in the last 4 minutes of games, which has been happening a lot against good teams lately. Then you're pointing the finger at JB Bickerstaff, and that's where there's a lot of news about the development of the team and what you're doing. And if that was the scenario that I see happening, this would have been a chug. But since there's so many variables here with young players and not knowing how they're going to do when there's this much pressure for them, I'm sipping on it. I'm going to give them a pass just to get that experience.
All right. Rodney.
Could you define impediment for me, please?
It's however you would define it.
Could you use it in another sentence?
You're just going to end up sipping, so just sip.
You know what? No, you know what? I'm spitting on that. Give me Mobley. You know it's not going to impede anything. Give me Mobley with another 20 pounds next year, and then another 30 pounds of muscle in 2 more years. It's not going to impede anything in the future. The Cavaliers are young, and they're only going to be able to build off of it.
All right. Love it.
I hate it when people say there's always next year in sports.
Chuck, you look like you got a mohawk. You got a mohawk or something going on over there?
No, I got my backwards hat. I got my Guardians hat on backwards.
All right.
I hate it when people say there's always next year. No, there isn't.
Well, there is always next year, though.
Always, Chuck.
No, not really. Not in the NBA. When like the biggest prospect since LeBron is in the draft, right? Like you can't say there's next year because you want to get that guy and lose.
Sure.
I'm 54 years old, and other than the one I've been saying next year for a really long time, man.
You want to hear something cool? I've never seen a championship in my entire sports life. The Knicks, the New York Jets, the Cleveland Guardians.
Well, there's 2 of your problems right there.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is you're fucked on 2 of those teams, but the third one, Guardians are going to bring home a couple.
Guardians going to bring it for you, baby.
You just got to live like another 3 to 5 years, and you'll probably get to watch at least 2. So that's cool.
Chuck's not going to like this next one.
We're going to move on to statement number 3. Chuck, you're going to start. The statement is Chuck's heart will survive until the 10 o'clock time game tomorrow. I'm just kidding. I think you will will make it. I'm gonna actually go into stadium number 3. Sorry,
Can you imagine if I didn't?
If you didn't, that would be amazing. We would be able to like show Chuck's last time on Earth before he expired. That would be fantastic. If you gotta go, I don't want you to go, but if you have to, it should be like tomorrow, a couple hours for the game. Fair?
I want Chuck to set up a video and videotape himself watching a Guardians game is what I want to watch.
Can we do that and just and then we'll like
everybody asks me about doing a live. It's not fun. I get really intense and I get really
1 minute reaction video after every game, and we'll put a montage.
Here's what
every single one.
Record yourself watching the entire game for us, and then we'll cut it down to like a minute.
We did a live show on the network like last year.
Yeah, I don't want that. That's gonna be boring. We just gotta isolate like the best, clips of you watching him. But anyway, we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the actual stadium number 3. This is a football question, but it's not a Browns question. It's not Browns. In the standoff between the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson, the quarterback will blink first.
So is it for me?
Yeah.
Oh shit. I'm gonna spit on that.
You spit in your drink?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, man.
I just don't think both Lamar Jackson has dug in so deep on this. I just don't see him caving on this. I don't. He's dug himself in really deep, and granted, he has a right to be pissed. I just don't see this. It's getting messy, and it's only going to get worse. I just don't see how it gets resolved. I really don't. Especially with the Ravens.
Yeah.
I just don't see him going back to them on like a below market price on what he wanted. I just don't see it happening.
All right. Nice. I am going to agree with Chuck. And this is really simple. The guy has not had an agent this entire time because he is a man of principle and he believes in his convictions. What he believes is what he believes very strongly. No one's going to talk him out of it. He wants out of Baltimore at this point because they're not going to pay him. And unless they pay him, which they're not going to do, he is never going to play a down football. He will literally sit out, in my opinion, all of next season.
I agree.
Wasting one of his prime years where he could make $33 million, and he will do that out of principle. I believe he would. And good for him. It's going to be fun to watch this continue to implode. He will either be traded or he will sit out next season, like the Steelers running back 10 years ago, whatever. What was that guy's name?
Levante Bell.
Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell.
It'll be a situation like that, in my opinion. People think I'm crazy, but we'll see what happens for us.
Oh, I'm spitting too. Obviously they could have extended him, the season after he won MVP. That would have been smart. They would have paid him a lot less money. And I'm sure he still has a gripe against that because they also didn't extend him after his 3rd year in the league and then the 4th year in the league, which is, I guess, and ultimately the 5th year. So it's got to be. He doesn't have to worry about anything. He's a top 10 quarterback, probably top 7 quarterback in the league. Someone's going to pay him money because guess what? You get Lamar Jackson, you're a shit team, you're immediately a contender. Or you're at least immediately a playoff contender. Yeah. And could you imagine if he was available and we didn't have a quarterback right now? I mean, it probably wouldn't happen because he's in our division, but this doesn't come up. And that's why we paid so much money for Deshaun Watson. This is no different than any other team in the NFL. You get Lamar Jackson, you're a playoff contender. Like right away. That's it. He's going to get paid. And it's not going to go to the Ravens.
All right. Roger.
I'm spitting. I agree with you guys that he's not going to blink, man. He's going to stand his ground. I also believe players should go and get every dime they can get. But I also believe that NFL teams aren't going to pay him for what he did in the past. Like Ross was saying, Baltimore should have extended him. It would have been a lot cheaper after he won the MVP. And that's how, like the Guardians, we were talking about Jimenez, and they sign him young. They lock him up and they give him if Baker won the MVP in 2019, I think the Browns lock him up and extend him. I think Baltimore blew it with him. He's going to get paid, like you said. I don't think the NFL franchise are going to want to get. I mean, once he stops being able to, like, being a threat with his legs, he's not a threat as a quarterback, you know? And I think teams are leery of giving him guaranteed money. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I think his best years are behind him as far as winning MVPs.
All right. Imari, close us out here. What do you think?
Yeah, so I agree with everything everybody said. I'm going to spit.
All right.
So
nice.
So not only did they fail to lock him up after he won MVP after his first full season as a starter, they don't give him the exclusive franchise tag. They give him the non-exclusive.
Right.
He also requested trade, which he himself put out the news almost a month ago, or rather a month after that he did it. So no, I think he's dug in. His heels are dug in. He's not going to give up any ground, and I think that he's going to go to a team that's going to want to pay him. And I don't know who that team is right now, but I mean, quarterbacks are a hot commodity. You need a quarterback. They're the most important position on the field. So for one, it's baffling that so many teams were coming out and saying, no, we're not going to try to pursue him. I think that was a wrong idea. But for someone who is still so young and could still be getting even better, possibly, that already has an MVP on his mantle, I think the Ravens did themselves a disservice by not offering him a contract earlier. And whatever they're going to offer him now is not obviously going to be up to his standards. And you know what? A lot of people are blaming the Browns for what they gave Deshaun Watson. And you know what? I don't really care. That's up to the owners to dish out that money if they want a quarterback. That's not anybody else's decision. So if you want a quarterback and your quarterback wants this amount of money and you want to keep him and you know that you can win with him, give him the money. Because if you don't, someone else probably will. So I'm a Lamar fan, so I hate that he plays for the Ravens. But so selfishly, I'm hoping that he doesn't play for the Ravens next year. And I don't think that he will, because I think he's good enough to go somewhere else and get the money that he deserves, and he'll be good again. So,
and just to add on, or I have a question on that point. He played for the Ravens last year. Obviously, he was upset with the Ravens. And, you know, the whole injury thing to end the season, Sammy Watkins, I think, went on record as saying he believed it was more contract related than an illegitimate injury. If he stays with the Ravens and plays on a one-year deal, that might be the best outcome, because I don't think you're going to see Lamar at his best, because he's upset and he's dividing the locker room, and it's just going to be an ugly, untenable situation, right? I mean, does that make sense? Or
it does make sense, where it'd be that hanging over where he's almost forced to play, is what you're saying.
He does not want to play for this team that is disrespecting him, in my opinion. I think that seems to be clear.
Just disrespecting him actively. I mean, they don't even give him good receivers to throw to, you know. So let him go to a roster that's actually going to give him pieces that he can work with.
And they gave him the tag that any team is open to sign him, but we'll get 2 first-round draft picks. They're basically saying, like, we don't respect you so much that we want a team to sign you, so we get 2 first-round draft picks at a minimum, and we get to control. Both sides seem very dug in that they do not. I don't see a path forward. So maybe the best case scenario as a Browns fan is if nothing ends up happening, so he's forced to play on a one-year deal, and then he doesn't play, or if he does play, he's not happy, and I stubbed my toe. I can't play today. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like a championship caliber team when your quarterback is really pissed off at your front office. The way I see it. So anyway, very interesting, and this is going to be a lot of fun to watch play out. I never want to take joy of seeing a player not get what he's deserved, but I hate the Ravens, so fuck them. Not fuck Lamar, fuck the Ravens. All right. Let's move on to statement number 4. And this one, Ross, you're going to get to start, and it's Cavs question, so this is going to be perfect. Karis LeVert has played his most consistent stretch of basketball as a Cleveland Cavalier, and this will continue into the playoffs.
No, I'm actually going to chug on this one.
Chuck's
Not of my non-alcoholic drink though. He has been more consistent, I think, mainly because I think they found the role for him where I don't know if they had a talking to him or something, but he seems to be less like hogging the ball and more like, hey, I'm going to practice my three-pointer and shoot that more. He's taking like more open threes, smarter shots, passing the ball when he doesn't have a good shot, and I like that. So, I mean, if he continues that, that's going to help us a lot in the playoffs, and then just let our superstars do the winning come that round.
All right, Roger.
I'm chugging. 2 words: go blue. Went to Michigan. Of course, he's going to continue in the playoffs. You put him on the floor with Okoro and those two. Once they get catch fire, they start playing defense together. They start hustling. Man, I love Karis LeVert. It has nothing to do with Michigan. I just think he plays the game hard. I love the way that he plays the game of basketball. And I think that when it becomes playoff time, his defense and his level of play is going to jump up a notch. I do.
Nice. Mark?
I'm going to sip.
Buckeye fan.
I think, yes. Yes. I think it could continue, but I'm not going to bank on it. He's averaging 13.5 points in the month of March, which is significantly better than the 6.8 that he averaged in a season low 25 minutes per game in February. So, it could continue. I'm liking what I'm seeing out of him. He definitely seems to be more consistent and could be a capable scorer off the bench, more, that 6-man role, even maybe 7th, depending on who you have coming off the bench, whether it be Rubio or whoever. But yeah, I think it could happen, but I'm not going to bank on it. If it doesn't happen, I'm definitely not going to be surprised. And if it does happen, I'll be pleasantly surprised, I guess, but we just have to wait and see.
All right. Chuck?
I'm going to pass. I don't know shit about Karis LeVert. He seems like a nice guy. Imari, that was very impressive with those stats at the 20 career 5 minutes. That was impressive.
In case you guys don't know, I have a journalistic background, so I definitely cover all sports. So, yeah, I knew that a little bit. Humble brag.
That's awesome.
It's good to get someone that actually has knowledge on the dog truck, because usually we just say dumb shit. So we appreciate it.
Speaking of dumb shit, I had to move out of my chair. I've been sitting in that chair for 3 hours because me and Imari basically have done back-to-back podcasts tonight. So
my ass hurts.
I had to move positions.
Well, if you guys want to stand up, feel free. I'm going to chug on this one too. And I know it comes off like I'm a homer, but really I have a devious thought here. Karis LeVert's one of those guys that I just feel like might not give it his 100% every time for whatever reason. I don't know, but like I know he got a big contract because he played really well before he was a free agent. I think right now he has the chance to like go play awesome in the playoffs, and every GM's going to be watching in the playoffs. So I feel like he's just been stepping up his game because it's like time to step up and get paid. I think that's what he's going to do. Like Ross said, he's passing the ball more. He's playing a little bit more as a teammate, and I think that's just because he's got the mentality that I have to put my 100% into this right now. So I think he's going to play well for us, and some team will probably sign him to a big deal, and he'll go back to kind of being the inconsistent Karis LeVert that we saw here. So we're going to move on to statement number 5, which Roger, we're starting back with you.
Okay.
Donovan Peoples-Jones will have more yards receiving than Elijah Moore in the 2023 season. I know there's a lot of debate who will be the number 2 receiver. So that's why this question is being asked. Roger?
I'm chugging. Go blue. Once again.
We're Chuck over there.
I think DPJ is going to have a breakout season this year. I don't think he gets enough love. I think he's a great wide receiver too. I love DPJ, and I also think they need to draft a running back this April. I don't think we got Johnson. right? I don't think he's going to be around this year, and Kareem Hunt's going to be gone. So that's what the question was, right?
Yeah, he might have moved up one, but don't worry about it. And Ernest Johnson signed with Jacksonville.
Oh, that's right. He did. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Imari.
It's baseball season, man. I don't pay attention to that shit.
I'm going to chug on that one.
There you go.
But I have a caveat, though. I think he'll have more yards than Elijah Moore, but I don't think that he'll have more yards per reception than he will.
Okay.
I like what DPJ is doing in his offense. He was projected to have over 1,000 yards last year. Would have been one of the few 1,000-yard tandems in the league. And then obviously with Deshaun Watson, coming back, that kind of died down a little bit. The offense looked a little bit different. That's fine. But I think he'll definitely be a go-to target for him next year. He has that prototypical build. He's 6'2", 6'3", very tall. He can leap out of the gym. He can run past you. He has all the makings that you want in a number one receiver. It's just that you have another guy over there that's just a little bit better than him, and that's fine too. I think he'll have more yards. I'm hoping he'll get 1,000 yards, but have to see what the offense does this year. It'll definitely be more pass heavy, so I'm expecting an increased workload for everybody.
There you go.
I'm gonna not do anything on this, but this is I have a connection to this. Donovan Peoples-Jones actually won me a lot of money on FanDuel last year, so I'm very grateful for that. And Elijah Moore is from my New York Jets, but I'm gonna go with Donovan Peoples-Jones. He looked great last year.
All right. I thought you weren't going to say anything, but thank you.
Then you did.
Thank you.
Awesome. I'm a little indifferent on this one, so I probably should sip, but I'm going to chug because I have a Donovan Peoples-Jones jersey. Love the guy. But I also love that we brought in Elijah Moore. I do think, though, Elijah Moore is going to really just fix the offense by spreading everything out, not allowing defenses to stack the box. He's going to make everyone better because of that deep threat, which I think he is going to be able to make that happen, make defenses have to respect him. But Donovan Peoples-Jones is just so good. I think he's just going to get so many wide open catches for, 8 yards, whatever, first downs. He's going to be great. So I'm just going to put him at a slight edge, which is why I chugged. I think I only took like a little sip, though. That was pretty pathetic. I'm gonna drink more while Ross answers this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna chug as well. I just think he's familiar with our system. He's always been with Stefanski. He got some reps with Deshaun. Plus, like Andy said, just having another receiver in Elijah Moore is going to benefit DPJ more than more. Haha, funny. And then I think when Deshaun scrambles, I think that DPJ is going to be his go-to target. Just find the biggest guy in the field, your tight end or DPJ. That's your get out of jail free card. It's not going to be Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore is your guy. Like, hey, he's an awesome route runner. He's fast. Yeah. You get him on whatever the design play was, and that's it.
All right.
Whose idea was that question?
What?
Whose idea was that question?
The Dog Chug, we all come together and collaborate and come up with these statements. They're not questions. Paramjot Sandhu, Roger asks, why does Michigan say maize and blue like it's yellow and blue?
It's the same reason that the Ohio State with their red and gray, their silver,
scarlet.
It's red and gray.
All right.
Isn't maize though the shade of yellow? It's the name of the shade, right?
Yeah, it's corn. The color of corn is maize. Yeah. So there you go. Golden.
Kind of like
golden, baby.
The more you know.
The Steelers say black and gold, but it's piss. I mean, it's obviously the color of urine. Everyone can tell that.
I try to keep the Michigan talk down to a minimum, so we're down to 3 viewers as it is.
All right. Sorry, Chuck, another Browns question, but you could just
baseball starting tomorrow, and we're
Well, do you have a good spit sip chug statement to make that?
You could take over this one. We won't do this next one if you got a good one for us for the Guardians.
What do you got?
maybe a statement from Chuck, and we'll see if we agree or disagree
Bo
with you.
Naylor will make more starts at catcher than Mike Zunino this year.
All right.
Ooh.
I love it. Well, we're going to end with you. So we'll start with me.
Well, that was his statement.
That was
Thank
my statement.
Yeah. Right. We're gonna use that question. I'm going to chug that Bo Naylor will have more starts. I love Bo. He's good. So
I think Mike Zunino's going to get.
I'm just riding off Andy because I know he has the same perspective on baseball right now, and whatever gets the people going, I think Bo Naylor gets the people going. Just the idea and the name. So I'm chugging.
Zunino staying healthy. I don't know why. Just a weird bunch.
Roger.
I'm gonna sip.
Amari, I just have a bad feeling.
It depends on the health of. It depends on his health. I think what they want to do is keep him down and let him play one more year and bring him up towards the end of the year. But it depends on the health of the catcher room. So I'm sipping. I love Bo Naylor. I can't wait till he gets up. But
I'm spitting. I'm spitting because I don't even think that it'll depend on the health. I think that even if Bo Naylor develops and he does well, I still think Zunino has more starts because he's more the veteran. You know what I mean? He would have had already more time spent with the pitchers that we have, and that'll play more as the season goes on. And then Naylor is free to take over the reins next year, but this year I think it's mostly still Zunino.
All right, Chuck, how would you answer this one? Your own statement.
you don't have one.
I'm gonna sip.
Wait a minute. You
came up with it.
You came up with it. You have to be one end or the other.
I wanted to hear the opinion of the class.
But I want to get your.
We're talking about Donovan Peoples-Jones and Karis LeVert the night before.
We want a steamy hot take.
Fair enough. If you're eliminating sip from the equation, what would you do? Would you spit or would you chug? Got to pick one.
I'm gonna spit. I can't spit on my apartment floor, but I think it's gonna be. I just have a bad feeling about Zunino staying healthy the whole year. That's just me, but I think it's gonna be. I think Bo Naylor is gonna play a lot more than we think.
You literally said Bo Naylor will play more than Mike Zunino, and you spit, which means you think Mike Zunino will play more than.
I didn't say it. I said that was the bold statement of the question.
But I think you did it backwards. Okay, never mind. Let's move on. We got one more spit sip chug. We're gonna start. Let's see here. I got to bring up a little. Here we go. Okay. Roger tweeted something recently, and I want you to read it. And essentially, the statement is he's a brown-nosing kiss-ass phony for the following tweet. I'm going to read that to you. Jeez. Adam, I'm a big fan of the bull. I got to make it bigger. Adam, I'm a big fan of the bullpen. He's tweeting at Adam the Bull. Especially love when you talk baseball. I do some baseball writing and wrote the following on the WBC and wanted to pass it along. Maybe you find the time to give it a read. Keep covering baseball. I learn a lot from you. Is Roger a brown-nosing kiss ass for that tweet?
Hey, look, Amar's already chugging.
Oh.
Next.
Chuck.
I love Roger. I read all of his columns. I think Roger's incredible. I respect Roger's game, so I'm gonna sip on it.
Don't lie.
Listen, and I say this, I really genuinely appreciate Adam the Bull to some degree. I'm glad he's not doing 923 The Fan anymore. I think his new gig is better for him. But yes, that you're a brown nose kiss ass for tweeting that the way you did. You're trying to promote yourself, and you were being phony.
I respect the game, though, for sure.
Yeah, it was a great move.
As a writer myself, I respect the game. Absolutely.
We're going to call you out.
Out of KSC's book.
Sure, but I can't. I don't have access to make fun of KFC when he does something stupid. I do have access to you though, so I'm calling you out.
What do you think, Ross?
Yeah, I'm chugging as well. The main thing is if go on Roger's Twitter and see how he normally tweets. It's like 20 different enter spaces, and then this time he's like, I'm gonna put a paragraph together. I'm gonna actually write a sentence
I love
in this tweet
Roger.
without
I love his
50
game on
grammatical errors. That was as phony as it gets. Just go on Roger's Twitter. You'll know what I'm talking about. That is 99% of his tweets or replies do not look like that at all.
Roger and Ross put up. Roger put up a tweet that said that was a picture of a man and a wife with memes that said, "I know I'm thinking about free agent catchers," and then the wife goes, "I know Chuck is thinking about free agent catchers," and Ross liked it. I thought that was the funniest tweet I've ever seen.
I'm gonna chug on it.
All right.
You know what?
Yeah.
I never self-promote, and I was like, I'm halfway through it, and I'm like, Andy's gonna see this, and Andy's gonna blast us all over. He's gonna put me all over Twitter and blast me. And he one-upped me, and he brought it on Dog Chug in an expensive chug. And I knew it as soon as I was typing it.
So you're good.
You know what, Adam the Bull, he blocked me at one time. I argued with him about baseball. I went to war with him. We become friends again. Then we argued. I respect his baseball opinion. I think he knows a lot about the game of baseball. And yeah, you know what? When I was a kid, I wanted to be three things. I wanted to be on sports talk radio. I wanted to write about baseball and be a major league umpire. Today, I help Little League. I got a podcast and I'm writing for free. So I almost made it.
You made it, Roger.
If you can get Adam to be on the Dog Jug, I will take you to a Browns game this season.
That's the goal, Andy. Why I'm kissing asses for the Dog Jug. I'm gonna get Adam. I'm gonna get Adam the Bull on the Dog Jug.
All right, can't wait. I'm excited. Ed's still trying to get Gary Busey, or who's he supposed to get on? I can't even remember.
I'm gonna write
Tom Arnold. Ed said I can get Tom Arnold on a future episode of the Dog Jug. That hasn't happened yet. Anyway,
I'm gonna write 5 more sappy baseball fucking stories. I'm gonna bring up shit that nostalgia, and eventually I'll get Adam the Bull on Dog Jug.
We're gonna document your journey to get Adam the Bull on the Dog Jug. We'll have a whole segment. Everything you do,
all right.
Post on.
I'll make a video of it if you want.
All right. Well, I think that wraps up Spit Sip Chug.
All right. I got accidentally drunk again. So let's get out of here.
I think we have to do one more ad, right? How's that work?
We don't have it finalized, so.
Oh, well then we're in the clear. Okay.
Imari, if you don't know, we're the worst at ending a podcast. We don't know how to do it, so we just usually sit here and just push a button eventually.
It's okay. I'm just here for the ride. I'm enjoying the entertainment. No, don't ask me. Do not ask me. I'm not any better.
All right. Well, thanks to having power this week, I'm here, and it's been a really fun time. Imari, thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure meeting you. Chuck, I always love when you come on. I think I peed at one point when you were describing your heart attack or something.
I'm not kidding. I was bugging. The second I saw that tweet that they pulled Mackenzie, I had a panic attack in my in-laws' living room.
Anytime the Guardians blow a game at the end or something, I'm going to request that you send video of your instant reaction because I love it. I can't get enough. You're amazing. Thank you for coming on. And yeah, that's it. Drink them if you got them. Go Browns.
Go Browns, go Guards. Go